Good afternoon. Better, not bitter. These were the words that rang through my mind 10 years ago. My husband at that time, ex-husband at the time, had just left me. And I remember getting down on my knees and asking God, how do I get out of this? Better, not bitter. What does better look like? Because I know Nelson Mandela said, bitterness is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to die. My whole identity as a woman, as a mother, as a daughter, as an employee, everything suddenly was shakeable. At that time, I had just joined the organization, and I just want to share with you a little bit of a strategy that I have in getting better, not bitter, and not understanding the process of how that can actually help you. I look at this wheel of life. And this is something that I've known for the longest time, but have never put into practice. And the wheel of life talks about the various aspects of your life. And I said, let me compartmentalize things and see how I can be better in these various areas. The first thing that I looked at, which was really, really important, was my spiritual life. You changed the photo, okay. Faith, my God, is it well in my soul? And that was something that I clung on to, and just getting to know and getting into a deeper relationship with God, because I cannot work within half-empty cup. I have a cup, but it was empty, and I wanted a cup that was full. It's very difficult to give if your cup is empty, and I had to focus on working on the inside, working on my anchor, and understanding myself a little bit more on how I could continue, right? And my feet had to be on solid ground. And this is what people don't see on the inside, and you've got to work on the inside. And so that was the first thing I had to look at. Strengthening my faith, taking the time to go to Sri Lanka, mandi perigi, wash in the, take a bath in the well, and understanding how people lived. And that was just getting to know me again through the eyes of God. The second thing was taking care of my health. We know about endorphins and dopamines and the natural high that we get from exercise. And I remember then, it was 10 years ago, how this is so pivotal. I decided, let me do something, and I joined boot camp, and just with people I didn't know, and said, I know it's a natural way to be happy. There is the other option called the pub, which I didn't think was very healthy. And and making new friends, that I was saying, and saying to myself, you know what? I'm going to register for my first 10-kilometer run. This is something very big for me, for someone who did not move, who did not do any physical exercise. So it's just a decision that I decided to take, and I'm so glad I did it, because that simple step in the last 10 years have taken me on various journeys around the world. And I'll share with that a little bit about, running, whether it's, I did my first full marathon in Australia 2015, 5 years ago. But along the way, I've ran in the streets of Spain. I go for running tours. I go for running in Kazakhstan, running from Asia to Europe. Of course, you cross that bridge in Turkey, the rain. Running in Croatia, in a vineyard. And so I'm so glad I made the journey 10 years ago. And slowly, surely, I think I got better. The other thing was family. That's my son. I grew up in a family where I had very oddly loving parents, loving Asian parents that showed affection to each other. And so I never had a family that hugged, a family that held each other. So I had to redefine who family was. And it is very disheartening to not give my son what I had. And so, how then do I redefine family? Your family is anybody that you choose to have in life. They don't have to be blood. My spiritual family is important. My exercise family, my family at work, Yes, the son, who is now 17, 18 years old, does not want to have anything to do with the mother. For the longest time, even after I was separated, my ex-mother-in-law continued to live with me. And because we had a great relationship and I needed stability for my son, but these were the things that I had to do. And I had to say, what is my new family? What can I do to extend myself? I come from Sarawak. I don't have any siblings here in West Malaysia. So who is then my family? So it takes, and you find that because you expand your definition of family, you have a larger family. So yes, there he is, adorable ever. The next thing I did was to look at finance, right? And this is when you talk about, when I share the wheel of life, this is something that's so important. And there was, now that I am a single mother, right? How then do you look at your finances? And even before then, if you're starting out in life, to look at your finances and to look at being financially independent. How do you expect, so some of the things I did was to do other things to earn extra income. As you know, I do MC work, I do other things, I write books, I do all these sort of things. I looked at my EPF, I looked at getting insurance, properly insured, because you know, women, we have extra bits and bobs that need to be insured more than the men. And you know, and I have seen many, many stories of people who have been wiped out financially because of health, right? So I looked at managing my finances a little bit better. And when I talk about the wheel of life earlier, this is something that I look at every year because I'm very mindful that these are all the things that are important in life. Where the relationship broke down with the husband cannot be all his fault, as much as I like to say that it is, but it's also a case of, did I not pay attention to that relationship with him that led to the breakdown? So this is something that I look at and review every year. Some things take more attention than the other, but I'm very mindful that all these things come into play and what is important for me now. And I look back, I know I'm just sharing some of the photos here, I look back at my life, because I look at it every year, I can see what has happened in the last 10 years. And you know what? 10 years, blink of an eye, it's just gonna pass. Okay, friendships. This is just one of the many, many friends I have. These are friends that when I first came out to Kuala Lumpur working for a public relations company, and my friendships are very important. After this, I'm meeting a friend and another friend later on. They're investments. Friendships are investments. Make time for friends. Schedule time with friends, schedule time with different people. I don't need the big group, I just need the one-on-ones and have real conversations, right? And these are the people who have been with me during my most trying times because I've invested in these friendships. And so, and an extension of my family as well. So looking at being with friends is so crucial. We don't need to have a lot, like I say, you have a few good ones. I'm very thankful though, because of the work that I do. I do have a lot of friends in different areas of my life that talk to me about things and keeps me humble, tells me as it is, and tells me in my face, and I need this. So these are just friends from 20, 30 years ago. I have friends from primary school where I grew up in Brunei. I have friends in secondary school where I grew up in Sarawak. I have friends from when I was working in Kuching for a short time as a receptionist in a hotel. I have friends from working in IBM before I joined BFM. So I'm so glad that I continued to connect with these friendships, right? And also remove some friendships as well. People who zap your energy, right? You can quietly extricate them out of your life because if they don't deserve your headspace, you might come out of it a little bitter as well. Okay. Now, career is something of, it is an important part, and I want to talk about it from life stages. When we look at life stages in life, in my 30s, when my son was when he was younger, I took a job at IBM because it was a regional job that allowed me to work from home, and that was my priority when it came to family at that time. My priority in career at that moment was keep job. That was all my focus was. But I also know that children are temporary guests in your household. They will grow up and they will have their own lives. And then I slowly looked at how I can then evolve my career and know that I am not emotionally of course I am emotionally attached, but that he knows that mom's gonna be okay, all right with or without him, right? So he needs to know that because he needs to move on in life. So of late, my career is important. I think like in the last couple of years at BFM, interviewed many other people. I know that communication is my essence, but how that communication has evolved is into writing books, into speaking, into moderating, into all these things. So now the focus is on building my career, and I think this is something that's important at this point in my life, this life stage in my life. And maybe things will evolve. Every year I look at how things need to move differently. Mindful that we're a bit late. Okay, fun. This is important. We need to schedule fun, right? And I'm saying this because I didn't schedule fun for the longest time. It was more like one day when I need, and I understand, like I said, life stages where I needed to save money to pay for the house and buy the car, but schedule fun. Fun doesn't need to be expensive. Fun can be a walk at the park. Fun can be taking some time out. Now I like to look at my idea of fun is doing things that I've never done before. I love going to concerts. This is U2 in Singapore. I've gone around the world looking for favorite bands if they're traveling, and if I'm traveling, and I try to incorporate a couple of things in it, whether it's definitely running, definitely music, and this is how I have fun. So my idea of fun is my next holiday, and the next one actually is doing a 100-kilometer walk over 5-6 days in Spain, the Camino Santiago. So that's the plan. So you incorporate fun, you incorporate exercise, and learn something in the process. So make time for it. Like I said, it doesn't have to be anything expensive, but carve out time for that. Because I think I missed out on a lot of good years thinking fun will come later, right? And then no time for fun. Okay, mental. This is also something very important. As you leave university, I know for me, learning is such an important value in my life, and that I continue to learn. I do things that are completely out of my comfort zone, and just to make sure that it's always working. I'm grateful that I'm in a job that allows me to learn things every day, that I'm able to talk to people every day and learn something new. So I get excited. To this day, after 11 years at BFM, I get excited for Monday, on who am I going to speak to on Monday, and that's it's a priceless thing. So mental, I read a lot. There are always a couple of books with me at any one time. I don't really spend time on novels. I prefer biographies of people who have achieved great things and just new ideas. So reading and taking up strange courses like jewelry making, because that is also not a natural gift, but I want to learn what goes behind it. Just like pole dancing, also not a natural gift. I'm currently doing a course in design thinking because I feel that that's the way of the future with IR 4.0, and what is the process of creativity, right? And that's something that's interesting for me, and find something else. And as you grow in life, we talk about upskilling, reskilling, and all that. When you graduate, continue learning. You've got TED conferences, you've got TEDx. You can learn from just watching people and with ideas. Okay, community. This is also another part that I never spent much time on. What I could give financially was 20 years ago, I started sponsoring Kids World Vision. And I didn't realize it's been 20 years. And I like the idea behind World Vision because it was something that helped the community. Although you say you sponsor a child, they're really helping the community. So just last year, right? Just last year, I was asked to be, this year, I was asked to be an advocate for World Vision under the clean water and sanitary hygiene area. And it's really important. When I didn't realize that the idea of collecting water, clean water, in some of the places in the world meant that the children could not go to school because they had to travel a distance to collect water, usually girls, and along the way, the girls will also get attacked just because they have no access to clean water. And here we are, turning on the tap. And here we are in our air-conditioned hall, enjoying, the rain outside. We're nicely, cocooned in here. So that's when I talk about the wheel of life. I hope this is something that you look on. It's never too late or too early to start with the wheel of life. Look at all these various aspects of your life, and depending on your life stage, whether you're in your will-be 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, look at that and see how you can evolve. So I just want to end off with saying, it's been a distance. I'm still striving to be better, not bitter. There are moments when things still cheese me off. But I think in the last 10 years, this journey of following the wheel of life has definitely helped me. And that was the reason why, as well, as we look at people around us, and we know that we have talents, we have skills, and that we're all successful, we're all called to do different things, right? And to know that it is to be comfortable with what you're called to do. Not everyone's called to do radio. Not everyone's called to be a doctor. So not everyone's called to be a politician, right? And to be comfortable in your skin. And that was the reason why I wrote my last book, to be comfortable in your skin. We're all called to do different things. So, I hope this is food for thought as the weekend is almost over. Thank you for your time, and I hope you got something out of this. Thank you.